From zero to deploy the web application in under 5 minutes. No boilerplate, no configuration hell, just pure AI-assisted development. Welcome to the third episode of Dev Horizons, where we're building our startup's first feature, a user registration system that scales to millions of users. Why this particular feature? User registration is one of the most common parts of today's applications, and what we are going to build now will be usable across lots of different use cases. I want to show you that even when you are not concrete on your startup idea yet, you can start assembling your building blocks, and when you do have a clear idea, you can just put all those blocks together. Enough said, let's start building. Welcome to my IDE, where I currently have an open project which is completely empty, so we'll go ahead and ask you to create something for us. So we'll start off just by creating a very simple HTML page. They'll collect information from our users. Okay, Q now created an HTML site for us. Let's have a look. It's a very simple HTML site. We have some instructions down here, what it is, what it does, what kind of information it collects. But to see it visually, let's just ask Q to open this file in my browser. So it's going to run the script, and this is it. This is our registration page. It's a little bit bright. It kind of hurts my eyes. So let's go ahead back and ask Q, make the blue shade darker. So Q is doing the updates, changing the color. It looks like it already did. Let's click back. We'll just go refresh, and we can see its gradient even, and it's nice darker color that it's easier on my eyes. All right, let's continue building. I'll just get rid of this little bit here, and I'll start a new session just so we have everything clear. Now notice that I have the agentic mode switched off. This is for the reason that I want to get Q developer to actually give me insights instead of creating anything just yet. So it's reading my files, it's reading my directory, and I posed the question, how would I deploy this project on AWS with the considerations on scale, on operational oversight, long-term, etc. And what would be also the best infrastructure as a code tool to use. So we can see it's giving me some insights. We can use a static website hosted on S3. It's probably the cheapest option. Then we have some other ones like containers, etc. Infrastructure code tools, CDK seems to be the best one, and we might use TypeScript similar to the runtime that we might use also for the application, because it's suggesting Node.js for application as well. Python might be an option as well. So this could be a good start when we are progressing with our application to learn and to iterate and to build further. Now that we are equipped with the knowledge and understanding of what to use, what kind of services to use, let's flick the agentic mode back on so we can start creating, and we'll ask Q developer to start building with the winner tools. We can see it's already building a little bit. It started with the package JSON, and it's going to carry on slowly, gradually creating our project. So now our application is completely built. I had to skip through a little bit just because this process takes a little while, and just demonstrate something that I call asynchronous building. So you can just let Q developer or even Kira build on its own. You can focus on something else while it's doing it, then you come back in a few minutes, check if it's doing the right thing, and then carry on from there. So we can see the full summary of what's been built. We can see the architecture built, files created, what should we do when we want to deploy it, how to bootstrap our CDK application environment, and what are the provision estimated costs essentially once we deploy into production. So let's go ahead and improve the documentation that we might currently have. So let's just go ahead and we'll ask it to create an architecture diagram of the application so we can actually see what we are pushing to production. Now we can see that this is actually using an MCP server. It's an AWS diagrams MCP server. So this will create a diagram for us, and we can see what kind of services we're using, how they interconnect to each other. So now the generation of the diagram is finished. We can see that this is a summary for us, and let's go ahead to our folder. We can go to generated diagrams, open this file, and this is pretty much our little application that we just built, but not deployed yet. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll ask you to deploy the application. Our application deployed successfully, but it took a little while, so I had to skip through. One of the reasons was that we were using CloudFront, which takes about 10 minutes to deploy. Second reason was that CloudQ developer actually ran into some deployment issues, which it was able to recover from by modifying the code on the go and redeploy failed stacks. So eventually we ended up with our working application ready. We got a summary with all the things that were deployed. So let's have a look at our application. Okay, I'm now in my AWS console, so I'll go ahead to CloudFormation. This is my registration stack, which is my application. I'll go to the outputs and I'll open the link here on the background. Before we get there, let's go to the resources section here and open the DynamoDB table. Now let's have a look at the table, items. We can see it's empty. Let's go to our registration form. Let's pass in the first name, last name, email address. I'll just get a phone number. Let's put a date of birth. Let's say yesterday, male. And I'll just pass some random password in there. Agree to terms and conditions and create. And we got our registration successful. Welcome aboard message. So let's go back to DynamoDB. Let's refresh the site. And we can see our user in here. So we got our application working. We got our registration system up and running, ready for our users. Let's recap what we accomplished. Modern frontend, serverless backend, global CDN, managed database, and infrastructure as a code, all through conversation with AI. This was the first step in our little startup. Join me in the next episode where we will continue building and expanding our application. I will see you there. Have a good one.